Thursday, December 28th, 2017. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Ghost.
Yeah.
To my left is MMA Junkie Radio's fight analyst, Dan Tom. To his left is the MMA Junkie Radio site coordinator, Randy. And to his left is Gorgeous George, who's in the Harley-Davidson warm-up prep point right now, hitting mitts. And to his left would be Buffalo Blue, and he is outside.
I'd say he's getting greased up by Stitch, but maybe that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say anything.
George is wearing his Green Bay Packer gear today.
Packer, yeah? He's a Packer guy?
He is today.
All right. Or did he lose a bet?
Or he could be
I'm bad at football, I'm sorry.
Runner, which is the high school I went to.
Okie daisy.
Okie do.
Okie daisy. Random. You seen Trading Places?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it?
That was it. It just reminded me of the Swedish, Swedish character of when they're doing the train hijack at the end. You have all the characters like "Papuli, papuli, papuli." Oh, hello, my brother.
Dan, had I not said anything, would you have just went on with your day?
I would have went on in some other random tangent. You know me by now. Right. So does the audience, I hope. Or they soon will.
Awesome. We need more of that. Dan, you need to do more of that. That right there.
I probably bring up too much movies. We're going to start getting complaints from the...
No, today's the day to bring up too much movies.
All right,
today's the day for it.
Today's the day.
I want today.
2 minutes.
Who do you think's going to have a better... be more into movies, James Krause or James Vick?
James Krause.
All right, I dare you to insert questions into both of those interviews today to see prove that theory correct.
Accepted.
Okay, all right. It'll be the quiet challenge that you in the pre-show for tuning in get to know about.
The show before the show.
That's right.
Play along at home.
What?
I said you can play along at home.
Oh, I thought you said play long and home.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
That's why I said,
don't ask me what it means.
I didn't say, oh yeah.
Oh, yes. I believe I know what you were saying.
I believe I know what you were saying. A lot of inside jokes that people don't know about on this show.
I don't even know about half of them, to be honest, guys.
Yeah.
You just giggle.
Sometimes I just go through the motions. I don't know what Randy, pew, pew, pew. I don't know what that is. I just do it.
Randy.
If anyone out there that's listening knows, don't say
don't
anything.
tell me. I want to discover.
This has been one of those things. We don't want the illusion. He doesn't even want the illusion to be ruined for him. Right now, it's an independent thought and sound that we make whenever Randy's announced.
Randy
By the way,
doesn't know either, right?
Is Randy on the headphones?
Know, right? Yeah, he's on the headphones. He doesn't know.
Randy, pew pew pew.
Anytime Randy's introduced, that noise needs to be made. We don't know why Danny does it. We assume it's from a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 30.
You know, Dan?
30.
I don't know. I remember Aziz Ansari. Doesn't he have some kind of skit where he's going, Randy? I don't know.
Nah.
Oh, yeah.
See my random thing. Not as good as my Terminator score recreation the other day, but
so yeah, I know
Coming
eventually. Danny, am I gonna come across this at some point? Like,
probably not.
Fuck.
It's very obscure. Stand by.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
Stability.
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to MMA Junkie Radio, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. Our ace co-host, to my left, the fight analyst, joins us. He's in studio, as he has been for the last 5 months. He's closing out the year strong. Dan Tom. Randy to his left. Randy Fiel.
Randy. For Randy, I'm going to do this because he coordinates.
He's the site coordinator. And according to Goes, he's the greatest producer walking this planet. Danny Olkers. Olkers. What's up, guys?
See, that would be a perfect example. If you guys tuned into the pre-show, I don't know why we do that, but we do it, and it's funny. I don't know why we go, Randy, pew, 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 but we do it, and it's funny. There's a lot of inside jokes that I don't get.
Is that a South Park thing, the Randy?
Is it, Danny?
Nope.
No. Just for as long as I know him, when Randy walks in, Danny goes, Randy, pew, 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 pew. And now everybody does it.
Okay.
But we don't know where it's from, and I want to learn organically. I don't want somebody to just tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we go, Olkers, hee, Olkers. But I just do it.
Olkers just sounds like a country last name. Like it's the Smith of the South.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Smith of the South?
Yeah. Which it isn't. I know that, but I don't know. It just sounds like it'd be a common name in the South. Olkers. I don't know. It sounds like Oak Ridge Boy. I remember the Oak Ridge Boys when I used to watch the American Music Awards back in the days of John Cougar Mellencamp, Lionel Richie, Madonna, Prince. They'd always go, and in country, and that's when everyone's like, ah, fuck, I'm going to take a piss or whatever. You can kind of overhear what's going on. They always nominated Alabama, the Oak Ridge Boys, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, and another hillbilly. And it was always Oak Ridge Boys or Alabama winning it. And so I think that's where I got it. Like, Oak Ridge just sounds like Oak Ridge Boys, and I'm making them, I don't know.
All right.
Are you country at all, Danny? I mean, I met you, and you're more of a rocker, but yeah, but is there a little bit of country? Isn't there a New Jersey in you or something like that?
Not really. I mean, I grew up.
There's no Virginia, Delaware, nothing, huh?
Not really. It's all kind of been city living.
Hey, do you want to learn something about Danny?
Sure.
Danny, his tattoo artist, offered a few people this deal where you can come in and get tattooed, and you can get anything you want for a certain amount of price. But the deal is he can go until he taps out. So he can get his whole body tatted if he wants to, but he'd have to endure the pain of however long that session is. So Danny's going to try and get his chest done, and depending on how long he can last. I mean, tattoos are pretty expensive, right, Danny?
Yeah, it's one price. It's $400. It's called a tap out session, and I don't think he would move to another body part, because I would love to get my shoulder done too, and it's kind of connected to my chest, but he kind of made it sound like it was only like one thing. Like if I wanted to get my leg, I could get my entire leg done. If I wanted to get my arm, I could get my whole arm. But I'm going for my chest piece.
So it's a tap out.
What's on his chest? What's on your chest? You can put like a gorilla or something. Isn't that what Connor did?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why he did that? Is that cool right now?
I know that he likes.
I know Bieber's got sleeved and shit. And Bieber got sleeved. I mean, he looked like a good, wholesome kid, and he's got them all over. And Connor, originally, when I watched him at Cage Warriors, I don't remember having all that.
Dan, why are you sleeved on
and
one
Cody
side?
Garbrandt's got a whole bunch. So what's the deal?
I have a theory.
That I got into jiu-jitsu before I could complete the other side, and didn't want to take time off the mat, and was too poor because tattoos do cost a lot of money. Yeah, that's the theory.
My theory was
okay,
this.
what was it?
Right.
Maybe some people in Dan's family don't like tattoos, so what Dan does in family pictures is when it's time to take a family picture, he's like,
rebelling?
Like that, but he's got the clear one. But then when it's like he's with his girl or whatever in that magic mountain, he's like with the other arm and it's tapped. That's what I thought, maybe. Not bad, right?
Something dark side.
Something dogs.
Yeah.
And then the last thing
I think people get tattoos and then they get a little hooked on them. Is what I've heard. So you get one, it's like, oh, I need another one. And some people can either go, like it's an avalanche where it's like, now I'm getting the whole sleeve, and others will go, no, I'm good. I got this one. I got my kid over here, and that's it. They stop. So just depends on how you react to it.
You brought this up, and I just want to touch on this real quick.
Yeah.
John Cougar Mellencamp, he dropped the Cougar, so now he's just John Mellencamp. Is Cougar his middle name, or is that part of his last
All
name?
I know is one year he had an album, and he won a lot of awards. It was his year. But he was I think, don't quote me, but I think he was the one that made scoundrels and pigs out of the rest of the world at award shows. Everybody used to show up, honestly, in a suit or a tuxedo to these award shows. And he showed up, but he was the man that year. He showed up and he had torn jeans and he had a jean jacket, I remember, and long hair, and he was just a rebel. And everyone was like, how dare he? I mean, you're supposed to dress up. Yeah. And then after that, it was just out of control. You know, everybody's just wearing whatever the fuck they wanted. It didn't matter. And it wasn't classy for that one night.
Didn't Lady Gaga wear like a meat suit once or something like that?
Yeah. Just like I said, things started to spiral and that was it. In terms of awards, from what I remember.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, you did. You know me too well.
I was facing it. I was everything in his power not to say anything.
Well, let me.
It was a meat suit. Right?
I'll call that, and I'll raise you another personal read. Does this kind of round back to your arch nemesis Adam Sandler and being the first guy who had the I'm gonna be the casual guy? Look, I got a lot of money, but I'm just gonna just like an everyday man. Like
probably. Yeah.
Do you not like that, Ghost?
I don't like that. He just wears some dumb boots and like a pair of shorts and a dumb shirt. Every day.
UFC 219 is on Saturday, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, see if we can come up with either a collective parlay. Maybe we can do a 3-team parlay between us three, like we've done in the past, and then we'll do the 5-teamer. We'll ask what Randy wants and the Buffalo Blue. Maybe we'll do a 5-teamer.
Everybody's responsible for one.
Yeah, everybody puts $5. Somebody walks up there and does a $25 par on a 5-teamer. That won't hurt anybody, right? We all got $5.
Yeah.
We'll ask him during the break, but didn't we come up with something that paid like $10, pays 400 and some, and it wasn't that bad, right? Yeah.
And of course, just to remind you guys and the listeners, we have our own fun bets going on here between the hosts. So we'll probably stack up our main card picks together.
I have to watch
the week's
Snatch, right?
Yep, the movie Snatch.
Is there something else? Or
no, that's it. And Goes has to watch or has to listen to How Did This Get Made's rendition of his favorite childhood movie, Over the Top.
That's it? You got to watch Over the Top? That's a great movie.
I got to listen to a podcast. He just said it. You didn't
it's
that information?
It's a podcast. They break down like ridiculous movies like Bloodsport, even like movies that are good that you like or grew up watching.
Called?
And it's called How Did This Get Made? It's got some comedians on there. You probably recognize from TV shows and stuff, like kind of semi-popular character actors. Yeah, real
like
fun.
They find mistakes made in the movie or question.
It's essentially a podcast of like anytime Goes. It's anytime like Goes does this all the time where he'll break he'll unpack something and be like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why was this guy doing this in this part of the movie?
That's
when he goes it's like a whole podcast of that, so I know he'll dig it.
Like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. He makes this awesome looking mac and cheese. And then he goes to eat it, and the bell rings, and it's time for him to get ready to defend his house, and he never takes one bite. He just leaves that whole bowl. How did he plan so shitty?
What happened when he rang the bell? When they rang the bell?
Then he knew, like, it's 9 p.m., I have to get ready for the robbers, so he just leaves it. He prayed and everything. It was his Christmas dinner.
So you're just saying
he should have planned that?
He should have done that at 8:55 and eaten, and then heard the doorbell.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just stupid.
He knew when the doorbell was going to ring.
Well, no, it wasn't a doorbell. He set an alarm. So he's praying and he's getting ready to eat, and then his alarm goes off, and he's like, well, that's that. And then he goes to go get his gun and all that. But how could he have planned that shitty that he couldn't even get one bite off? Like, if he knew, hey, I'm kind of pressing it for time, maybe I should eat a little bit while I'm doing stuff. No. He set the table. He did everything. It makes no sense.
Or here's another one. George, you know how I sent you that GIF the other day of the Bloodsport meme of the guy getting tortured in reference to your therapy that you went through again this morning, if I'm not correct.
Right.
But they talk about that scene in Bloodsport. They're like, okay, this guy's son dies, and all of a sudden he has Van Damme in his backyard, just hanging out there, and torturing this kid in the backyard. Like, at what point did the neighbors go, oh boy, Rich's son died. He's taking it rough. Yeah, he adopted that French kid and is just torturing him in his backyard. Like, you're a Belgian kid. Yeah, like it really doesn't make sense. You're like, yeah, that wouldn't play today. That would raise suspicion today.
Is that the guy that you thought was our friend?
No.
Who, the guy with the glasses, the bald guy?
Yeah.
And it's like a different nationality.
Oh, you talking to me or Dan Tom?
It's a Dan Tom. He thought that somebody,
it's a different nationality.
A CEO of a company was outside.
Oh man, that ain't Andrew Simon. You guys looking up Andrew Simon? Come on. If Andrew's listening, I got your back, Andrew. That's not him. So let's see here. I guess the big stuff happening this weekend is a world title, and the unfortunate thing is this fight's going to be great. I feel, and it's going to be historical. But then the fallout from it is what's next. If they have a classic, they may have the rematch, and of course we pegged Megan Anderson as a legitimate #1 contender to these two young ladies. But still, I think it's just more about watching two great females fight in the main event, and then of course the co-main event does have some implications because it could produce a #1 contender, especially Habib. Habib, I feel like, is really in the driver's seat. So we can definitely talk about that and take calls regarding all that. Yesterday we went so far as to having Mount Rushmore of women's MMA, Mount Rushmore of women's MMA fights. So we had a lot of fun. If you want to stay on that topic, 866-522-2846. We also have two other guests on today's show. It's James Krause and James Vick. James Krause, his primary duties this weekend will be as a cornerman. He'll be cornering his boy Tim Elliott. But in like 3 weeks, he is at UFC Fight Night 124 in St. Louis. He'll be fighting Alex White. So we'll kind of pick his brain about both things that are happening in his life. Cornerman duties, and he'll be, a fighter. Upcoming fighter. All right, we'll also talk to James Vick. He's on the opposite side where he's got nothing going on. He's pissed. He feels like UFC Fight Night 126 in Austin should have been his spot to take the next step, in his quest to being one of the best, the well-known lightweights or contenders, a needle mover, whatever you want to call it. And one of the ways you do that is by headlining an event near you. He's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or at least that's where he lives. But 2 hours south is Austin, Texas. He really wanted to headline that event. And now it's official. Yancy Medeiros and Cowboy Cerrone looks like they'll be headlining that bout. So we'll get his thoughts on why that's not him that's headlining. He's told us in the past people have turned him down. We'll see if we can get some names out of him. Who's doing this? A lot of people are turning down fights, and it's driving a lot of fighters berserk because they're just in tough spots. We may have one other guest. We'll see. But as of right now, those are the two that are locked in. So, again, this is a great opportunity to call in and give us your take on everything that's happening this weekend, UFC 219, predictions, submit a parlay that we can track. Bust our chops on the picks that we've been making. You may have seen some stuff floating around. I don't know. It may be up. It may not be up. I think Tom's got 2 pieces up so far, right, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Main and co-main?
Yep, and the rest of the main card will be dropping later today. But, yeah, you can find the main and co-main already up at MMAJunkie.com.
All right, cool. I'll see if I can really get to the iTunes comments because another one came in. And, when you take the time to do that, it means a lot to us. So I love to read them. Because I like to know where you're writing in from, what you got to say, good or bad. Of course, we love the 5-star ratings. I mean, not only does it just help our ego, and it triggers an algorithm in iTunes, which just, I don't know, man. It gives you that presence. And we've always enjoyed writing the top 200 in all sports podcasts, and it means a lot to us. It's hard to sustain a podcast nowadays. I track a lot of that stuff, and I see other shows and click them and notice they haven't done a show in 2 years or 2 months, and like I said, it's tough to do. People just, maybe they give up or they move on or who knows what. So it's your contributions by listening to us and those reviews. It means a lot. It helps a lot. Sounds like something's on your mind.
I was just going to throw out a couple topics.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So if you go to MMA,
where do you want to start? With news or you got something else?
Well, if you go to MMAJunkie.com, there's a story written by Simon Simano. Dana White, George St. Pierre ain't fighting Conor McGregor if he returns to the UFC, and he kind of elaborates on that. Mm-hmm. And then also Jimmy Smith parting ways with Bellator.
Really? Oh, wow.
Why?
After 9 years.
He's so good, man.
So this is his statement. I'm very grateful to the entire Bellator organization and fans for an amazing and unforgettable 9 years. As I move on to the next phase in my career, I want to wish all the fighters, producers, and Bellator staff the absolute best. Wow.
Who steps in?
Phil Baroni wants to. Just saw that tweet. I don't know. I mean, think about it. You have Morrow, you have Goldberg. Chael has done some, right, before in the
True.
past.
It opens up the door for fighter promotion where I see. I mean,
the thing about what Scott Coker has is virtually anyone can step in, right?
Yeah.
So you could even get like a Frank Shamrock from back in the day doing something like this.
True.
I don't know. I mean,
Josh Thompson, I thought, was a guy that was maybe getting groomed.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe he's got more than a fight left.
Yeah.
In his career, maybe 2. I guess I don't know because. The thing about Bellator is if you have an impressive win, you're right up, you're knocking on the door of a title shot. They just don't have deep divisions other than maybe welterweight. So I'll throw Josh's name in there. I've seen him do it in the past, and he's good at it. I like the Frank Shamrock name.
Do you want to know something that I've always wanted, no matter what the organization is?
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt like maybe not every fight. And maybe not even the whole fight.
Bill Murray, guest referee.
Yes. But if you could have the matchmaker throw on the headset for a second and just give you his thoughts immediately, either before a match or after a match, I would always like...
Julie Ketty did that for Invicta.
Yeah.
I never tuned into Invicta shows by the 5 hours that they, here we go, it's 3 p.m. all the way to the end. I was always doing something else, watching, sometimes muting, sometimes fast-forwarding, sometimes rewinding. But I know she kind of did that role for a while, and it was interesting.
King Mo's done it as well, right?
King Mo's matchmake?
Well, not matchmake, but, I mean,
yeah.
For Bellator, that would
That's
be another
true.
name that could probably...
That's true.
I like that idea a lot.
Maybe for 1 year, right? Just fuck around and bring in a bunch of names and see who works. Almost like a live audition, you could call it. But if they wanted to go with, a buttoned-up guy... And this is him. No auditions. Miletich and Morrow were a team in the past. Is Miletich tired of maybe some of those smaller venues, and the weekly travel? I mean, because they do about 40 shows, and I think these other guys are doing kind of half of that. The Access TV keeps them pretty busy. And so Miletich is very respected, and he's worked with Morrow. And then the other possibility is Boss Rudin. He's been doing it for such a long time, but I don't know what his kind of contract he's got with NBC Sports. How about our boy Joey Varner?
Yeah.
That'd be great, too.
Yeah. So, yeah. Give us your thoughts, folks. Who would you like to see in that spot? And Jimmy, you did a great job. I just got to tell you, you really did a great job. I don't know if you have another gig lined up or if you're just done broadcasting or what, but good luck to you, sir. I really enjoyed the way you color commentated mixed martial arts for Bellator. I also saw him do work for M1. He's very, very talented.
Yeah, I was just watching a Jimmy Smith calling Megumi Fuichi versus Esparza the other day, and it was like a 2010 fight, and he's saying stuff that is, applicable to the new edge of today. He was already on the ball back then. A very good commentator. I really wish him well.
And he always had the balls to put himself out there in terms of judging the round, while color commentating. I know a lot of commentators say, I'm just not looking at it through the lenses of a judge. I'm calling the fight. But, it's no one will hold you to it. I don't mind you having an opinion on it. I wish more would do that. Okay. Going back to GSP, right? You started off with that one. Here's some quotes, if I can read those.
Sure.
From Dana White. This will probably be the big story to unpack today. Regarding GSP status, he says he ain't fighting Conor McGregor. This was told to ESPN.com. If he wants to come back, Tyron Woodley or Robert Whittaker is waiting for him. They're both waiting if George wants to come back. Again, that's Dana White telling Brett Okamoto's from ESPN. He goes on to say, there is no status. I knew what he was doing. That's why I put a mandatory title defense into his contract. We both knew what was going on. I don't know, man. I don't think the guy wants to fight. I think he jumped in, grabbed some cash, and went back to Canada. Your thoughts, Ghost?
I think everybody kind of knew all along that this could be a route that he would take. How do you hate on the guy? He's done a lot for the sport. It is a fight that would actually kind of intrigue me a little bit, but I think it would make most sense. The problem with GSP is if we just knew how long he was going to be around, all of this would be so much more easier to stomach than it is just knowing that this could be his last fight. This could be his last fight. When you hear that, sometimes things just don't make sense, right? Why would you want him to fight for a title if that's going to be his last fight? So I wish he would just commit to, I want to do some weird things, but I'll be around for about the next 3 years or something like that, right?
At least he did vacate right away.
As far as Dana White taking this hard stance of I'm just not going to do it, it's just kind of weird because bro, you've done it a lot. You know, like what is it about this fight? I mean, you're gonna make a shitload of money if you did something like this. Why wouldn't you do it? I don't know. It just doesn't fall in line with what they've done in the past. So, if that's gonna be your stance going forward, then bravo. All right, from here on out, let's just do that. But I don't feel like that's gonna happen. I feel like they'll just do it for someone else. So, it's almost starting to seem like he's a little soured on George St. Pierre.
Yeah, I will say that if we had made like memes for T-shirts for Dana White sayings, I gotta believe that this guy doesn't want to fight anymore. Is one of them. Anytime he says that, I think we all know the translation there, and I think we all know George St. Pierre's translation for when he would want to come back, i.e., Conor McGregor. And I think that's what it's going to look like. I think it's going to look like that dance move, guys. You know, when the two dance partners, they look like they're going off balance, but they grab each other, they lock hands, and they start doing that spin thing where they're like, that's what Conor and GSP are going to do because they're leveraged for each other, and they're just going to leverage each other and spin each other back into the picture when they're ready.
Well, George produced a high-grossing pay-per-view. So even if Dana White is left with a bitter taste in his mouth, that was a successful business venture with him versus Bisping. It took a while, and it upset a lot of people along the way. But UFC 217 was pretty big for the company. George at least vacated, and now we already have Rockhold and Whitaker in the mix. You know, if Conor would vacate, if he was really going back to boxing, we may already have a Ferguson booking, you know, versus a somebody. But when a fighter holds off a long time, you know, a lot of people get frustrated, man. Media, fans, the promotion, other fighters. So I think Dana White knew this was a possibility, and I don't think he can get too mad because many times the UFC's pulled one on a fighter. This time the fighter got them. I think he's got to chalk it up, you know. The projector, back in 5th grade, you know how the teacher has a projector? You just kind of like roll it up. And you just put one under the fighters, you know. There's a bunch under the UFC, you know.
Dude, I got
how many? You just have the UFC and the fighters, and you just go, yeah, give one of the fighters. I got whatever. But either way, a boatload of money was made, you know. And maybe GSP does still stay. He hasn't said he's going to retire, but if he's only looking for him to get Woodley or Whitaker and putting his foot down on Conor, he's putting his foot down on something he loves to do, which is make the company money. And that just does seem a little bit bizarre. He should have left himself that opening, which I don't think he said 100%. I'm against it. It's not going down. But
it's one of his firmer stances.
He's giving a firm stance, right?
But we talked about this after the show yesterday. Like, what are big pay-per-view matchups, big draws that would make the UFC a lot of money? And this
Conor versus GSP.
This is one that would be huge.
Right, but how do we get to that? Because is GSP really going to weigh 155? I don't think so.
No, he's not. No, he's
right. So if it's not for the lightweight title and it's a money fight, then Conor has to give up that title.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So let's get on with it. Well, you know, if they're going to do that, I'm at the point now where I think we passed 1 year, which was UFC 205 when Conor last fought. He became a dad. Bravo. He fought Mayweather and had an epic match up there in terms of the popularity of the fight. And I think he had a good account for himself. We had a nice run in there in the summer with spikes in traffic. Bravo again. But now where are we? Like, what's the timeline here? I'd love to see some sort of a Conor McGregor booking, or otherwise I'm of the opinion, yes, let's get Tony going. Let's get Tony going versus somebody. And Conor, you got first shot when you come back. You know, it's simple as that. They need to start
developing those other guys too, because what they're lacking are the huge names, the huge stars, the pay-per-view draws. One idea that we were throwing out yesterday, as it started off as a joke, and then we started thinking about if they're just trying to make money. Okay.
The UFC?
Yeah. What if they took Ronda Rousey, okay, and they said, all right, look, things haven't gone your way, but how about we give you a fight with somebody who's kind of somewhat in the same boat a little bit? It's a name we brought up yesterday. What if you matched her up with Gina Carano? You don't think that would sell a shitload of pay-per-views? And it's not a matchup where you could say the winner gets the title or anything like that. It's just kind of like a one-off.
Depends how you define shitload. Ronda peaked out at about 1 million. So I think her and Gina could get to 1 million.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And that would be a fight that really wouldn't shake up a division. We were talking about this yesterday, remember? It's a fight that wouldn't shake up any division or anything. but it would leave that door open
I could
in
do
case
that.
the winner wanted to continue on.
I could do that.
They're stars. They're people that know that we know
Oh, but Gina
outside
could
of
only
the-
make 45, right? She
Yeah,
never
but
made it to 35.
Ronda would do that. Wouldn't
Okay,
she?
Ronda to
Wouldn't
45.
you imagine? Especially if there's nothing concrete about this is I'm going to continue my career. If it's just a fight.
Yeah, sign me up.
Think of other fights that you
Just
think
don't make it a main event somewhere, especially in Vegas. I'm fucking up to here, man. Me vale madres with some of the bullshit that we've been getting here in Vegas. This is the fight capital of the world. You know what I mean? Like, I need Connor versus Tony. I need DJ versus TJ as the co-main.
Yeah.
Like, enough already. Detroit got a sick card. New York got a sick card. We had a couple of John Jones incidents with UFC 200 and then UFC 2.
Are you sure? Think about this, all right?
Yeah, remember he
in the
fucked up
arena.
the one with
no,
the...
No, I get that. But you're in the arena, and bad reputation comes out. And you see that scowl on her face, and she's walking out. And then you see
don't make it the main
Gina
event.
Carano, who we haven't seen in a long time. I think I'd be okay with it.
Still making the main event. No, not in Vegas.
Really?
No.
George's getting upset.
Yeah, give me something else. I like the fight. I like the matchup. Not against it, and I do like her walkout. It's amazing. And I do like the Gina Carano weigh-ins. Those are amazing. But she's got a great jab. But yeah, don't make it the main event. Don't make it the main event. All right. So, but it's funny, when I was driving here, I was thinking, when the fighters have so much power, which the fans want, you know, the dance from Morgan, pay those motherfuckers more money is what he's saying. This is what happens. So sometimes you do have to back off on Dana White and let him be a dick. Let him be an asshole and check these guys, because otherwise, if you have about 30 of these guys running it, I mean, you saw what this year presented. We went over this about 3 weeks ago. There were, like, we got, well, how many champions do we have in the UFC now? Like 10, 14 or something like that?
14.
What? Yeah. We have, I think 12. 4 women's and 8 men's, I believe. So, I'd say 8 of them fought. 6 of them fought once. 6 fought twice. What the fuck is that? What happened to 3 times a year?
Yeah.
4 times a year?
I think those days are over.
Yeah, I know that, but
a good year would be 2
one time a year is not enough. What is this, WrestleMania?
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, no, we gotta have a little bit more than that. You know what I mean? But whatever. So GSP, whatever you want to do. You know, if you want to come back, I personally would rather have him fight Woodley for the final 170-pound belt. You know, that's my choice.
I'm with you there.
Connor, if he does fight him, I'm okay with that. But Connor has to relinquish. The sport just needs to move on. The UFC can make money. Connor can make money. GSP can make money. But don't hold up a title. Let's get away from that. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll take some calls. 866-522-2846. You got 3 guests in the queue, so we'll handle those when we come back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
They're so fat, they gave Dracula diabetes. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Start your day with SiriusXM. Enable the SiriusXM skill on your Amazon device, then tell Alexa to set an alarm for your favorite channel. And you'll wake up to the sounds of SiriusXM. With SiriusXM and Alexa, you can get the latest sports each morning without picking up your phone or turning on your TV. Also, today is Junkie Nation Day when it comes to picking the music for the show. It may be too late, but who knows? If you go to facebook.com/MMA Junkie Radio, our producer Danny Olkers has put a post. If you have a request for a song to be played going to commercial or coming back for commercial, leave it there. All right. Excuse me?
I didn't want to railroad you. Can I say something on that particular subject? This is the last Thursday of 2017, so I posted up a little bit early. So we had overwhelming response. We had too many songs today. Normally I'm grasping for songs, but yeah, we have like 2 or 3 Thursdays worth of songs right now.
Sweet. All right. We're going to take some calls, but I want to give a couple of shout-outs. Gavin McCarran says Gabby Garcia is fighting, and she missed weight by 27 pounds this morning.
Whoa. Shout
out to Gavin McCarran. He's always in the Facebook chat. You're right. Very unprofessional. I've had it up to here with Gabby Garcia.
And being
I've seen her once at the King's MMA gym. A very imposing figure. It was a belt ceremony day, and she was standing there. She's got her black belt. Much respect to what she's accomplished there. But as far as an MMA fighter, I mean, I guess if Japan is begging Ryzen, you got to have her on the card, then, hey, I can't stop them. But if they're not, then please, man, I mean, I'm done with the mismatches. And, it's just, I don't see the point. Like, you could be paying that money to a quality guy that maybe just parted ways with the UFC. Who's the guy that was bitching? Bang Bose at Dana White?
Yeah.
He just got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give him, give him a fight and put him up against someone else. You got yourself a good fight. I'm sure the Japanese crowd would love that too.
It makes sense for us, right? But culture is so weird, right? It's so different. Like, who knows? They just love that shit over there.
I guess. I think even Saki Kabara said, we can't have this. I don't think the fight's going to go down. Speaking of, did you see Ian McCall and Manel Cape? They were doing a pose-off, and Manel Cape just kind of batted him on the back of the head.
How do you not expect it, though? They've been going at each other nonstop.
Yeah, but once you kind of touch the head region, you can expect what McCall did. McCall kind of just threw a lazy jab and hit him, and then Cape came back, and I slowed down the frames. It didn't look like he connected other than with his chest, so McCall won that little battle. But still, I don't want to ever risk not having the fight either. Mm-hmm. So that's why I've always said a good shove in the chest, or when they put their heads together, something like that, cool. It usually gets a little bit of traction with mainstream media, but I don't need to see anything that'll possibly ruin the fight, and a knuckle in someone's eye or some sort of a cut. Next thing you know, the doctor's not letting the fight go on, and we lose it. And, I mean, McCall, has anybody been more snake bit than that guy?
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
He needs to walk in and get paid.
It's stupid, but given their history, how did the promoters not expect it? And then how does he not expect to get hit back? Like, if you're going to throw something like that, your hand better come right back, because fighters just don't let that shit go. Nobody takes a shot like that and just goes, oh, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Look at Heath Herring. He was in the ring. He was in the ring.
I know.
And he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait 20 seconds to fight back. That's just fighters, dude.
McCall said, don't you put your hands on a cowboy or something like that? I think that's what I picked up. Don't you ever put your hands on a cowboy? I'm thinking, what are you, like, Ike Clanton? Isn't that what he said in Tombstone?
I don't think so.
Don't put your hands on a cowboy. Don't you ever put your hands on a cowboy. We'll cut your motherfucking throat out or something like that.
Oh. When he's walking away.
It's a scene in Tombstone. It just reminds me.
When he left jail, right, I think?
Don't you ever put your hands on a cowboy, law dog, or we'll cut your pimp's throat out or something like that.
I don't know. But
I know I've heard that scene. That's why when he said it, I was like, this guy thinks he's Ike Clanton.
I mean, that can't possibly be true, though, because a lot of people put their hands on Cowboys this season, right? And they've been okay.
Yeah, definitely. Lastly, thank you to Adam Hunter for his invite to go see a show at the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere. He's the host of MMA Roasted. He's also been one of the writers for the World MMA Awards. Very talented, very funny. I went down there and I caught his show, and it was funny as hell. And as soon as the show was over, he goes, "We got a special guest in the house," and Marlon Wayans did a set. So cool. Marlon Wayans was there. So really, really a good time. And if anybody's coming to Vegas or is in Vegas, Adam's there through Sunday. So his show starts at 8 p.m. at the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere, and I recommend it. They have the host. You know, he comes out for 10 minutes or so, cracks some jokes. Then they have another guy that comes out for another 10 or 15, and then Adam comes in for about 45 minutes to an hour. And good times. He's picking on the audience. He's cracking jokes, and he's just like rapid fire. You know what I mean? So I mean, people were dying. They were loving it. Gil Martinez, John Wood, Eric Spicely, Andrew Sanchez, represented from the MMA community. Adam Hunter will actually be here tomorrow. Cool. So it'll be good to have him back in studio. We haven't had him in a while. Along with Jeff Juarez, recent MMA, he recently promoted a Muay Thai show on our show. He's also on the UFC Fight Pass as of 2018, live that is. And Jacob Stitch Duran, the preeminent boxing and MMA cut man, will be here in studio with us as well. So tomorrow will be a fun show. It's his birthday. There'll be tamales here, a birthday cake, and belly dancers. All right. Typical phone Friday. Call time. We got Vegas Ford starting things off. What's up, Ford? How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, happy holidays, guys. I can't be too loud because I'm at work right now, but I got two things real quick. Number one, I just wanted to say good riddance to Jimmy Smith. We're all looking forward to his debut in Omaha Fighting Championship. But the thing here, George, I see you got your Nurmagomedov gift bag full of vodka because you sound a little drunk this morning talking about you had it with Gabby Garcia, but Nurmagomedov, if he wins this fight, is in the driver's seat for a title shot. Come on, brother. I mean, let's show up for more than one fight. You know, making weight or just show up for this goddamn fight. You know, it all. He hasn't fought in over a year.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily in agreement with it because, like you said, he was out for a full 2 years. Then he had some injury or some weight cutting issues. I was one of the ones that was really, really pissed when he didn't make weight. Because, you know, the whole tiramisu thing, I really thought he maybe brought it on himself. We lost ourselves a main event. I mean, Vegas has really, really been jinxed as far as like pulling off great cards. Derek Lewis pulled out. Habib Nurmagomedov. Excuse me?
We're the new SoCal.
Yeah, Amanda Nunes had an incident here. John Jones. So it's just kind of sucked. But Habib, if you listen to the way Dana White talks about him, or if you listen to, you know, Tony and Kevin Lee and some of the others that want a piece of him, it's because they know he's there. He's right there at the top. And I think it's because he's built a 24-0 record and an 8-0 record in the UFC. And even though he hasn't fought in over a year, when he did come in, he steamrolled Michael Johnson, you know, so it's kind of like they want him there more than anything. Not, you know what I'm saying?
But Ford, do you always? So be honest, when you look at things, do you look at it always as a fan, or do you like kind of look at what they have to do the business side as well?
But it's a business fucker. Every time he's scheduled for a main event or a co-main event, and he doesn't show up, and all these people bought tickets. I mean, how is that a positive?
Well, because if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, I would say you got this guy that I don't want to risk him taking another fight and possibly getting a loss and not using that big name in a title fight. If I can just squeak out one more fight from him, he gets a win, I can build this guy and get that championship spot and make a lot of money. As I think is what they're looking at it.
Yeah, if you'll recall, he missed weight in March, and somehow in October they still wanted to do Habib and Ferguson. Yeah. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought the ship had sailed.
They want to get to Russia
so
eventually,
somehow,
right?
That's what I think.
Dude,
I think Russia's was one thing. Tony really wants Habib because he doesn't like Ali. You know, him and Habib have gone at it back and forth. He probably wants to hang that first L on him. So it's not just us. It's just that just seems to be the direction the UFC wants to go with.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair, and he's got the Russia thing, you know, in his back pocket on that. So he's got that going for him. But at the same time, I mean, everybody's crying and yelling about, you know, Conor vacate or defend, blah blah blah. But they want to put this guy. They want this guy in a title fight every time he shows up for one fight. I just don't get it.
Who else would you put though?
Maybe Poirier.
That's not a bad one. I'm not disagreeing with you there.
Yeah. So, hey, last thing, guys. I got to run. Is it too late to still drop off that stuff for the sideboard thing?
No. Bring it. Well, I'll be here till 1, and then tomorrow I will be here at 8 a.m. to 1. So if you want to bring toys or teddy bears, bring it on by.
All right, cool, man. All right, guys. Later.
See you, buddy. Moving on to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
Marco from Waco. ¿Qué pasa, vatos?
¿Qué pasa?
¿Qué onda?
When it comes to Jimmy Smith, man, I think a natural fit, man, and a guy we haven't seen in the book for a while is Frank Mir, man. They have it on the Bellator roster, and he was awesome on the WEC, man.
Yeah, Goes mentioned that he thought that was a good name, and I concur. I co-sign. I think that'd be a great fighter to put in there. But Frank is he's really close to his family. He doesn't like being away from them a lot. So can he handle that schedule? I think Bellator is good for about 20 to 30 shows. Let's just say he skipped the ones that were overseas. Maybe it's closer to 20. If he does them all, maybe it's closer to 30. I mean, he does also fly to ACB, but I believe he was doing that while he wasn't working to bring in some sort of an income. So that'd be great questions for Frank Mir. But you know what? I think Bellator has a unique opportunity to just maybe try a few different people in there and see what clicks, and then decide what they want to do, because they're also going to be on a new channel as well. So I think they have a lot of moving parts there when it comes to production.
Yeah, real quick on when it comes to GSP no fighting Conor, I don't think Dana got too much to say. Eddie Emanuel had the last say because they got a $4 billion nut they had to pay. And if Conor said only coming back to fight GSP, that trumps whatever Dana wishes or wants. I mean, money at the end of the day talks. My quick parlay, I got Cynthia Chick Diaz Calvillo, Khabib Termasum Nurmagomedov, and on the upset, Holy Holm over Cyborg. Peace out.
All right, see ya. That's not bad. He's got an underdog. Calvillo is not that big of a favorite. Who's the other one? Khabib?
Yep.
Not that big of a favorite. So it'll balance out. I would say if I had to guess, that 100 pays about 500. I think. Holly Holm's a big dog, so I may be off. Maybe it usually plays 6-1. You should get back 600 if you put down 100. So maybe I'll do that during the break. We got to take one more commercial. When we come back, we'll keep taking calls. Brian from Houston's up next. Dan from Morgan's on deck. And I'll tell you what Marco from Waco's parlay pays when we come back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
SiriusXM has your chance to win a trip to the UK to see Billy Joel live at Old Trafford Football Ground, home of Manchester United. It's Billy's first performance at the iconic stadium, and you can watch it from the front row. No additional purchase is necessary to enter or to win. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/BillyJoelManchester. Do that before January 2nd, 2018. Let's get back to the phone calls. 866-522-2846. We'll start off with Brian in Houston. What's up, Brian?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
How are you?
Not much, and you?
Hey, I'm just wondering. Hey, everything's cool. Do you guys think UFC Hawaii will happen? If so, why or why not?
Yes, because Hawaii's on fire and they have a world champion to market around. Goes?
Yeah, I think it will, but I think it'll be a stadium show.
I think so too, and I do believe that 2018 it'll happen. I don't know when. I don't know. As a fellow Hawaiian, I'm sure you would know when the good time is in terms of. I know it rains every day, but is there a part of the season where it maybe rains less or
I'll tell you
more
this,
predictable?
I'll tell you this. The skeptic in me says it'll be another year, but my stomach says it's got to be this year because I'm craving like 10 places from there, Brian. So it's got to be this year for me.
When's a good time to go, though?
A good time to go. I thought a good time to go was going to be, January, like it's been every year since I was a kid, but old Dan Tom takes his vacation and they skyrocketed the price, so I don't know if January is the cheapest time to go.
No, fool. What I'm talking about is the UFC. When's a good time for them to go? When it rains less.
I thought people were tuning in for Junkie Radio for airfare advice, but all right.
Trying to be the hopper over here.
All right. Frequent flyer, Bill Murray's character on Saturday Night Live. There's really no prediction. I mean, it's crazy. Monsoon season. I'm sure we have a more local Hawaiian over here.
Is there a good month to go, Martin?
What?
Martin Stabilo?
Jeff Monson doesn't want to fight on this card anyway.
Huh? He says May. Okay. So either May of 2018, Brian from Houston, or maybe May of 2019. I don't know. All I know is I've been there 5 times, and it doesn't rain every day, but it seemed to me like 5 or 6 of the 7 days there was always something going on. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll do their studies and figure out when a good time is, for them to get down there. It always seems to be beautiful in terms of the weather. When the showers do come in, sometimes they're heavy, but most of the time they seem to be light, and then they move on about their own business. Remember, Hawaii can be anywhere from 2 hours behind us to 3 hours behind us. And the one thing UFC doesn't seem to move on is their start time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, when it comes to pay-per-views. So in Hawaii, your pay-per-view would start at either 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. Now they got to identify a part of the year when it's less likely to rain. Did that make sense, Brian from Houston?
Yeah.
That's funny because that's what I thought. All right, what else?
Can I say one more thing on that topic?
Yeah.
In the way, the Hawaiians have kind of become their own worst enemy when it comes to taking the UFC to Hawaii. It's not their fault, but it's because there was a time where I think you could have got away with like a Blaisdell Arena or the campus of Hawaii.
Oh, and now it's too big.
Do like a fight night, but now they have so many quality.
It's got to be a
Hawaiians
pay-per-view.
that it has to be a pay-per-view.
How do you go? How do you not go with Max Holloway?
Exactly.
And how do you not feature Max Holloway in a pay-per-view? Unless it's a big Fox show and they say, hey, look, we're going to peel off some more money and not give you your pay-per-view points.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking it depends a lot, too, on how these Hawaiian guys do, because Yancy Medeiros and Max Holloway have been tearing it up lately. But if they don't perform, it's not like the Hawaiians are not going to show up, but the appetite's going to be less. You know what I mean?
They got to do it, man. They went to Poland without Joanna and still had a great show. So they'll get to Hawaii. They'll sell it out. Well, it is 40-some thousand. Maybe they'll configure it for 30,000. I'm sure they could pull that off. It'll be an epic event either way. But I think they have enough Hawaiians to get down there. Let's not forget our boy Brad Tavares, Boston Salmon. He came through the Contender Series. He's an exciting fighter. Lewis Smoka has a fight going on this weekend. If he wins, he saves his job. Throw him in the mix. Yeah. So they have a good. Just because they have 12 or 15 Hawaiians or maybe more, it doesn't mean all of them at the fight. The timing won't work for some, but I think they can feature at least 6. But it'll all build around Max Holloway. Thanks, Brian, for the call. Let's see here. 2 minutes to go. We can do one more. Let's do Dan in Oregon. What's up, Dan?
I want to build on that, man. UFC Hawaii. there's this thing called Golden Week. It's the end of April, the beginning of May. It's this festival where a bunch of Japanese come over to Hawaii. I think that's your 100% guarantee. You got Japanese MMA fans coming over, Golden Week, 2018, 2019, whenever that comes around. I think you can't have Max there. I think you got to have everybody else that you did name. Hopefully Yancey still wins, Smoka, all those guys. I got touched back on something else you were saying, though, man. Frank Mir still does work for ACB. I was just watching an ACB like a week or two ago, and I heard him up on there. I
know he is. But what I'm saying is, I think he may have been doing more of that, because when he goes, he has to travel far. He doesn't like being away from his family. I think he was doing it while he wasn't able to make ends meet through his fighting career. That's where he gets the big paydays. Now that he's going to start fighting again, and maybe he has the opportunity with Bellator to announce, it could be that maybe he does less ACB. Who knows? That's why I said these are more questions for Frank Mir the next time we have him in. You got about 30 seconds. What else?
Man, you mentioned me earlier. The UFC does need to pay these guys. We haven't seen a Diaz bro in here yet. We're going to humor the idea of a Mayweather coming in or some nonsense. We're going to humor.
I know, but see, here it is, Dan. You're just saying it right there. You're saying it, let's pay these fighters more. Okay, but because they've been paying them more, and rightfully so on many occasions, now Diaz has this firm stance. He's not fighting for anything less than 10 or 15 million, and the UFC, they don't have to pay him that much. You see what I'm saying? Because they'll move on fine without him. That's the problem. Pay them more, but be reasonable as well.
With the new guys, man, the guys that put in 10 years, they can do that. The new guys will keep fighting. Max Holloway still wants to fight. He put in the skins. He gave you Pettis. He gave you Aldo.
All right.
And you demanded
Hold on.
So
let's talk about this in about 2.5 minutes. Hang tight. We'll continue with Dan from Oregon. And, of course, we got a whole hour of MMA Junkie Radio coming your way. James Krause and James Vick. Stay close.
I'm gonna keep on the run.
Thank you to Lerone for submitting that song as we start the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show.
I wasn't Lerone.
Oh, wasn't Lerone?
No.
Oh, okay. My bad. Who was it?
Samuel J.
Samuel J. Well, that was my next guess. There you go. I knew it was an East Coaster.
That was good.
It had an East Coast feel to it. Bring back that fool, Dan from Oregon. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Dan.
What up, man?
That's a loving term. That's a loving term. You're my fool. You're my buddy. You know what I mean? What's up, fool? You know, like it's one of those things. You love me back? We're friends. We're homies.
Man, let's continue this talk.
All right, so let me finish this point real fast. So he got paid. I think the first time it was, hey Nate, get off that yacht and come over and fight Conor for $500,000. $500,000, great. I used to get paid 20 and 20. So he does it. He gets paid $500. But then he started realizing, wait a minute, a lot of stuff. A lot of people like this fight. So money was made. Conor's making way more than I am, but I'm half of the equation. I won the damn fight. So I think the next time on paper, Conor got paid 3 and Nate got paid 2. And then, of course, Conor probably got his pay-per-view points where I don't know if Nate may have gotten that. But Nate now knows that the next fight, because Conor's probably getting somewhere around 10 or 15, and Nate was only getting 2, but he feels like he's more than, what would that be, about 15% of the equation. He wants, I think he's coming in real high, kind of like when you negotiate a car. You're willing to pay the 20 grand, but you're like, I won't walk out of here unless you lower it to 15, and they're saying 25, and then you say 17.50, and then they go 22.5, and then you shake hands at 20. I think that's what he's doing, is he's throwing out the 15 number, trying to maybe get 10 out of it, or 5, or something like that. But the problem is, Conor can fight now GSP, or someone else, Ferguson, and maybe still sell. Conor's proven he doesn't need Nate to sell. Therefore, I think the UFC's trying to tell Nate, listen, your stock's high, we get it, but it's not as high as you think. And they have other options. And they have to, every once in a while, concede and pay these guys, and then there's other times they have to put their foot down. Otherwise, everyone's going to have that $15 million price tag, and the whole thing will unravel. So you have to see it from both sides.
I don't know what you mean about unravel. I see $15 million paydays.
You know how every motherfucker out there wants a money fight? And yeah, they all want a money fight. They're all setting their terms. They're declining fights. It's just something that didn't happen much in the past. They're all starting to do it. And what's happening is we're not getting enough of the great fighters fighting as frequently. A, they get paid more, so they don't have to fight as frequently. B, they have leverage, you know, and they have more power, and so they're
not going to get the matchups that you want to see.
They want to flex that,
or
right?
You're not going to get them like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. We got it, but it would have been a lot better 5 years ago.
Correct.
I see this as a greed problem. The UFC's been paying these guys 10% of the money for so long and getting away with it for so long that finally, when the $4 million payday comes around, we all see that, oh, they've been shafted. Like, we knew it was a reality. We just never had the number to back it up. Now we got the number. So you see the guys waiting around for the more money.
But collectively, they have the power. See, one of these guys, let's choose Nate again. I don't mean to pick on the guy. Christ, he hangs out at the Mandalay Bay enough that I don't want to piss him off.
You're not listing all the facts for Nate, man.
Okay, what are the facts?
The facts are, with the Conor fight, Conor avoided Donald Cerrone so he could pick on Nate because Nate was out there on vacation.
Right.
Conor's the one who went to the UFC, and they were like, no, Nate's demanding too much money. He said, pay Nate the money. He's worth the money. He was right, man. So these are the facts. The facts are that the UFC is going to pay him, and we're getting a less quality product because of it, man. They're sitting over here. Their ratings on Fox Sports 1 are freaking dropping like flies. The pay-per-views are going down. We got this huge problem where we only want to talk about Conor McGregor and this one megastar. It's the UFC's problem.
But according to the UFC, this is their highest grossing revenue year ever, by far.
That's because they've hit a lot of markets they haven't been to, and they've been packing arenas.
They've also said that they've extended multiple offers to Nate Diaz. They just all haven't been Conor McGregor, and he's declining them because he wants Conor McGregor. But I think they offered him Tony Ferguson and Eddie Alvarez. He declined them both.
how many times do you have to hear this from the UFC about them talking about fighters this way before you quit believing them?
Where do you get all your facts from? I'd like to know where you get all your facts from. Like, who's this truth teller that's telling you everything?
Situation. So why didn't we see Stipe fight? Because they weren't paying him enough money. Why didn't we see Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway fight sooner? Because they were holding out for more money. And now they're injured. Now we don't got these fights. Why was UFC 209? I've never heard of anything more Stockton, more Diaz in my life. Why didn't we get a Diaz bro there? I'm a huge Diaz bro fan, but there's a lot of shit going on in the UFC where you look at it and you're like, it's because they're not paying them enough. We're not getting the quality.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're acting like this is kindergarten. Those are grown men. They signed the contract. They should have done a little bit more vetting of the company themselves. Not wait. What if it never sold and we never knew there was a $4.2 billion price tag out there? You just sit around and wonder. They should have done a little bit more vetting. You got to give Conor credit. He seemed to get a grasp of that a lot more than some of the other guys. Yeah, there was the occasional holdout like Tito Ortiz. Someone should have learned off of him. Then there was a Randy Couture. Somebody should have learned off of him. Somebody should have learned off some of the others. But they're just signing contracts left and right. The fighters kind of put themselves in that situation. Now that they have more information, yeah, they're asking for it, but at the same time, Dan, I'm telling you, they're not as valuable individually as they think or as you think. And a lot of these Anderson Silva doesn't fight as much as he used to. Did it slow down the UFC? No. BJ Penn doesn't fight as much as he used to. His stock went down. Did it affect the UFC? No. They just keep creating new stars because the three letters is what sells, not the fighters individually. The fighters have to collectively stand together. Then the UFC will be shaking in their boots. Until they do that, then the UFC has no problem just sitting you out, shelving you. All right, as long as they keep asking you, hey, we got to fight for you, and you keep declining it, they're not out of the terms of the contract that they agreed to.
Yeah, I remember when you guys used to be each other's fools.
Man,
yeah.
Without Silva, they couldn't go to Shanghai. They had to bring in a freaking concussed Michael Bisping to go in there, and we all saw what happened there, all because they had one man named Silva to go into Shanghai, and he almost ruined the whole China market. You could say this all day long, but 10 years in the sport, when your name's Diaz and something like that, you got a name that ranks way over a Till who went and got a win on Fight Pass.
You actually want the UFC to pay him. You actually want the UFC to pay Nate $15 million? Is that what you want? What is it you want?
I want him to get 15. I want Max Holloway to get 15 mil. All these guys deserve that kind of money.
They're not going to get. They're not going to get it.
Even if they get it and they put on a great performance, you know what 15 mil is going to do? It's going to mean you're not going to see him for another 2 years, probably, because he's not going to want to fight again the next. I mean, he's going to want to spend the money.
They're not going to get that. They're. I'm sorry, but they're not only not going to get that. They're just not worth that. The UFC doesn't need them. You guys have to understand this. They don't need them. There's a couple of them that they love to do business with, but they don't need any single one individual athlete. That's why the athletes, what they have on their side too is father time. These athletes just keep getting older and older and older, and all of a sudden when some of the money runs out, they're going to come back, and they're not going to be themselves because they missed their prime years. They at some point, they're going to have to step up. Is it fair? No. I mean, is it fair that some of these companies out there make a ton of money, and, you know, like the Walmarts, a lot of their employees get minimum wage, but yet those companies are worth, you know, each Walton kid is worth like $20 billion alone. Is that fair? No, but that's just the way it is. They created a business. There's a demand, for a wage or whatever, and if somebody's willing to take it, then that's that. That's business, you know. And the athletes, I think, took too long to stand up for themselves. But at some point, you have to also be reasonable. They don't have to pay Nate Diaz $15 million. Nate's only been valuable in the fight versus Conor McGregor. Other than that, I don't remember him being this windfall when it came to pay-per-views or even on Fox when he fought Benson Henderson. I mean, was it like Kimbo numbers? I don't think so, right? No. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. All right, Dan. That was enough, wasn't it? I mean, we got discussion. Yeah, great discussion. Thank you very much. But we got to move on. We got to get to James Krause. Hopefully he's already waiting, or Danny's lined him up. But thanks for the call. Where do we stand, Danny, the producer?
Hey, I've been sending you messages. No one seems to be reading any of them.
Okay. I think I know what's going on.
Is busy at the moment. I don't know if he wants me to say it on air, but he said he'll be busy for another few minutes. So either we can call him back in 10 to 12 minutes and take him before James, the other James, or we can wait and take the other James and then take him after.
No, James Vick's gonna stay at his time, so we'll just try James Vick in a few minutes. Yeah, is Oreo still there?
Yes.
All right, let's go to Oreo. What's up, Oreo? How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey George, you know I think you're absolutely right about the fighters. Like fighters shouldn't be complaining about pay other than themselves because it's a free market. They sign the contract. You know they hire managers to negotiate the contract. So I really don't think any of the fighters should be complaining about pay when nobody put a gun to their head to pay them. So
a lot of them are fucking lazy too. Let me tell you this, man. A lot of them are lazy as well, man. They just choose any manager. They just trust any manager, and then at the end, they just run to Twitter and complain when something doesn't go their way. But you know, you're also the CEO of your own enterprise or your own, company per se, corporation. Run it like that, or find someone that's capable of it. Interview a couple people. Interview an attorney, a well-known sports agent, and then maybe someone that's got a name in the MMA industry, and then figure out what's the best for you and go from there. Complaining about it years later, I guess it's fun on a podcast when you're getting high. Oh man, 10 years ago I did this. But I mean, to do it over and over and over as a grown man, I don't think it's a good look. I mean, you just live with the mistake and move on.
Kevin Lee and Daniel Cormier are great examples of people who did that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're moving on, and that's that. I think, and a lot of them have Conor McGregor to thank, and a lot of them actually do thank him. And I think, is Conor like freaking the greatest businessman of all time? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe more credit needs to go to Audie. Maybe Conor's dad was sharp. I mean,
Floyd is in combat sports.
Huh?
Floyd is in combat sports. He took a big chance with his contract, buying out his own contract and promoting himself. I think he is.
And it paid off.
I think.
No, but I was talking about Conor.
I'm saying in combat sports, I think he's probably one of the smartest dudes, and I think Conor should thank Floyd for setting that blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could work that way. But what are you gonna do? Let's just move on. What else, Oreo? He's gone.
He's already gone.
He's gone. All right, he's gone.
Nothing we can do.
He gone.
Yeah. All right, so you're going to try, we'll say you're trying James Krause at 15 after maybe, or 20 after? What do you think?
I think closer to 20 after. It sounded like he was still where he was, and he didn't know exactly what time he would get out. The problem is he said he would be done before 30 after, but that's when we have to take the other James. And I tried to tell him that.
Okay, so I'm going to read some iTunes comments. Where were we, Ghost? Did you figure it out?
Yeah, we were in July.
July. Oh, July of 2017?
Yeah.
V. Raymo? Desi C?
No.
JD from the IE?
Right here.
So we already read JD from the IE?
Yeah.
All right, so these are comments you can leave us on iTunes. You can rate us 1 to 5 stars, 5 being the best. We appreciate those. If it's anything less, just tell us what we're doing wrong. But this is your feedback from all over the world as we get downloaded from like over 100 countries, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. This one's it's titled An Amazing Show, 5 stars, by Brinkstar53 on July 22nd, 2017. An amazing MMA podcast. George and Goes are great at what they do and some of the best interviewers in the business. I enjoy all the calls from the junkies and hope to get to a gathering someday. Been listening for 5 years and will enjoy them for years to come. Congrats on the milestone, guys. So for anybody that just started listening back in July, or it was in May, right? We completed 10 years and 2,500 shows. So that's the milestone he's talking about. As far as the Junkie Gathering he's talking about, we do that every year where a lot of the listeners come and hang out in Vegas with us for anywhere from 2 days to a week. And in 2018, it'll happen in the 3rd week of September. To be more exact, it's September 18th through the 22nd. Hold on a second. Give me a second here. September. Yeah, usually things heat up between Wednesday and Saturday. So that's the 19th through the 23rd.
Tuesday.
19th through the 22nd. However, in the last few years, Mondays and Fridays have been so much fun that I'm just saying, honestly, if you get here as early as the 16th, we ain't hating you. And if you leave as late as... You should leave on the 24th because the 23rd is Goze's 40th birthday. So we'll have a big birthday extravaganza for him on a Sunday. So you have to ask for Monday off, too. It's a
I'm
newer
4-day. You might have to ask for Tuesday off.
It's a newer. It's a part of the calendar we've never tried before. We tried May and July, but we've never tried the fall. So we're gonna try it one time, and if it's great, maybe we'll revisit it. If it sucks, I'll take the heat. And if it was just fun like the others, maybe it'll be a rotation. Who knows? I didn't do it to piss anyone off, and I certainly didn't do it to favor anyone. I just knew that we had to try it. Nobody liked the idea of Independence Day once, and we tried it, and it wasn't so bad. I think 90% of the people told me, hey, that wasn't so bad, I would do it again. A few of you didn't like it, and I understood. And we would never go head-to-head with 4th of July. It has to be a Independence Day. Sorry, I shouldn't even call it that. And it has to be International Fight Week, revolving around, like, it's usually the week after Independence Day. Because even the UFC doesn't like to go head-to-head with July 4th. All right, let's do 2 more, and then we'll go to a break, figure out what's going on with Krause and Vick. This one's from Rick D, 1982, on July 24th of 2017. He says, go for all things MMA, 5 stars. GG and Goes are 2 great hosts for the only show that kept me on with Sirius XM. This show keeps me level through my work week. It's like having 2 good friends talking MMA with while you work or drive. I recommend this show to all my friends and family every chance I get. Keep up the great shows rolling, boys. Thank you, man. Those are really, really nice words.
And I consider you guys friends as well. I've made a lot of great friends.
Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Yokels are sitting here right now.
I've always said, thank you for telling all your friends and family, because you never know, man. Like, we have a cousin named Ugo who lives in Lima. I hadn't seen him in years. I landed, and I just started talking soccer with him right away. And he talked a little bit, but you could tell he was lost. And he told me, but the one thing I fucking like. And I go, what is it? And I knew it was gonna. I figured it was gonna be like
racing,
chicks, racing, the surfing. I don't know, something. He goes, man, I love MMA. He wasn't sure that I was involved. I hadn't seen him in years. Wow. And he goes, there's this guy named Vanderlei Silva. I go, what? I fucking flipped my lid. I couldn't believe it. So you never know who out there might be an MMA fan, a hardcore MMA fan. So if every single one of you just convinced one person to listen to our show, our audience would double. All right, last one here for today. This is by Tony C, 22, July 28th, 2017, MMA Junkie Radio. Everything you want and more, 5 stars. I've been listening to GG and Goes for about half a year now. Been watching MMA Hardcore since 07 and listening to MMA-related podcasts since they began. MMA Junkie Radio is a prime example of what I want to hear. Great guests, fun and interesting interviews, and complete absence of ego from the fellas in charge. If I could sum up the show in one word, it would be consistency. Everyone involved in the show is great at what they do. Hopefully soon I can be part of the show and call in. Gracias por todo, boys. Tony from San Mateo.
Sum up the show in one word, quick.
Daily.
Sum up the show in one word, quick.
Fantastico.
All right, George. Daily.
Well, I was going to say consistent, but he had just said it, this guy, Tony from San Mateo, so I didn't want to take that.
Did I even say a word?
But yeah, it's a daily show, 2 hours a day. We gravitate outside of MMA as well. Like the NFL Roundup has been real popular towards the end of the year.
Danny, go.
Sum it up, Danny. One word.
Fast.
Yeah.
He's gonna go. Wow.
Hurry, dummy. Say something.
I said wow. Like 3 times.
All right. Let's take a break. Let's regroup here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close, and we'll be right back.
Faces look ugly
when you're alone.
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, folks, start your day with SiriusXM. Enable the SiriusXM skill on your Amazon device. Then tell Alexa to set the alarm for your favorite channel. You'll wake up to the sounds of SiriusXM. With SiriusXM and Alexa, you can get the latest sports news each morning without picking up your phone or turning on the TV. Now, that was a good song. Who submitted that one?
I believe this is Larone.
Oh, boy, yeah, jeez. I was way off from the last one. Huh.
Was it really?
I think this was.
I know Larone's style.
Props
oh,
to
no, wait, no. Hold on. I'll look it up.
Props to Johnny Mac real quick for Misfits' Last Caress couple breaks ago. Always plays at my heartstrings, you know, the punk rock selection. So thank you.
This was DJ Zoo. Sorry.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. Okay, so we struck out with James Vick and James Krause. Waiting to hear back on both. So let's see here. I'm going to give a quick... Oh, no, I know what I'm going to tell you guys. Here's some parlays that have been thrown. Nothing that's like official, run to the bank with it type stuff. But the first one was submitted by Marco from Waco. His $100 bet, which finished off with home was his underdog, it pays $6.56. Goes submitted one. He submitted a 5-teamer. Goes submitted Carlos Esparza, Khalil Roundtree, Mark Diakise, Marvin Vittori, and Holly Holm. Goes his $100 would pay him $3,761. It's a 5-teamer. Dan Tom selected Marvin Vittori, Rick Glenn, and Habib. His 100 will pay $435.
None of these are crazy, by the way.
None of these are crazy. Yeah, nothing's crazy in MMA, honestly, nowadays. Anything can happen. I mean, can you imagine going, yeah, give me all the dogs at 217. All the champions are going to lose their titles. Nobody would have, you know, everybody would have thought you're crazy. You didn't stand a chance. Especially with Rose. She had the biggest odds. Rose, GSP off of 4 years, and TJ, who apparently had been getting knocked out by Cody. You know, that parlay didn't look good, and next thing you know, you're walking out with a lot of loot. Mine has Rick Glenn, Mark Diakise, and Habib. No, and Calvillo. My 100 pays $503. So let's do the final one here. You all got your $5 ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got mine.
We will have James Vick in 5 minutes.
Yeah? Okay. All right, goes. What is... There's Dan Tom. Randy, who's your pick? We'll let you go first. Cyborg? Okay. Randy picks Cyborg.
And somebody check on Randy and make sure he doesn't fall off that limb.
You don't want the Globetrotters or nothing? You're good? Okay. Buffalo Blue, who you want? Buffalo Blue is taking his time. Esparza. Oh, so he's taking an underdog. All right. I can't hate on him. Goes. Who do you have? Or Dan Tom, you want to go next? You want Goes?
Oh, the one we're all putting in for? Was Vittori or Nurmagomedov put in yet?
Nope.
Put in Vittori.
Vittori. For Dan Tom.
Italian.
Goes?
Give me Diakise.
Diakise.
Va bene. Non ti preoccupare.
Should we make it a 6-teamer and include Martin Stabilo? You want to be a part of it, Martin, or no? No? All right. So we have one more here to pick. Randy, the site coordinator for MMA Junkie Radio, took Cyborg. Dan took Vittori. Goes took Diakise, and Blue took Esparza. So Blue's our only underdog, right? The rest are chalk?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to pick an underdog here just so it'll give us a better chance to win more money. I'll take Glenn.
Not bad.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a Junkie Nation 5-teamer. Now I'm going to put these into our what's called the Parlay calculator, and figure out what it's going to pay.
While you do that, can I say something?
Sure.
So another name, and these are two names, friends of the show, that I threw out there in a tweet. I'm at The Goes. I would love for you to retweet this. How about we hear King Mo, which I already brought up, but how about Jens Pulver as well?
Ooh.
That's a possible. I mean, they like to give love to the legends, right?
Yeah.
That's a legend right there.
I like
Have
Jens.
him come on. How many times did we say we
Bellator?
miss him for Bellator? We missed when he would be the color commentator for WEC. How about we give old Jens Pulver a try?
Jens has that everyman feel to him, which is what I like. I like a lot. Paul Felder kind of brings that, but a more new, revived version because know he's from a different era, obviously too. But I like guys who really touch on that note. So good one.
Thank you.
Good.
What's his handle so people can tweet him or tag him or?
Well, I put it out, so you can retweet me. It's got both of them there, but King Mo is at King Mo F something. Is it at King Mo?
FH for Fight Hype.
FH, yeah. And then Jens Pulver, I believe is at Jens Pulver. He is at Jens _Pulver.
No Little Evil, huh?
No. You know, we just found out how we got that nickname. Do you guys know that story?
No.
He was just kind of raising mayhem at Militich's gym, and Militich told him, "God, you're a little evil bastard." And he said, "I like that."
Quick question: when you hear "Little Evil" in your head, who's saying it? Is it Buffer or? Now I'm blanking on the name. WEC guy who I actually like.
Joe Martinez.
Yeah, Joe Martinez. Yeah.
I like them both, but Joe Martinez, for some reason, that voice. It makes me think of combat just in general.
Yeah, I think of his Joe Martinez's voice a lot for a lot of fighters, but for Jens, I think of Joe Martinez.
Did you pay your $5? No. Okay, I'll pay for you.
It might be in my wallet a little
Hook
bit.
me up.
Sure.
Did Blue put in yet?
Blue, you got your 10?
No, it's all right. So our $25 parlay is going to pay $116. We're not going to get paid too much because.
Who do we end up with?
We ended up with some big chalk. Cyborg, Vittori, and Diakise are our favorites. Our underdogs are Esparza and Glenn. Wait, why'd you pay 10?
For your...
Give that to...
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
All right, so now... let's see here. You feel real good about Cyborg, huh? Yeah. Who else did you like? Just curious.
Oh man, you're gonna mess with the.
All right.
That might be bad karma.
$5 to win. All right. So, Blue, can you put this bet in, please? We are in Vegas. This is legal. We're not calling a bookie. Here are the names. And I don't know if that's the most current odds, but just tell them we want $25 on that 5-teamer. And then tell them Junkie Nation, bitch, when you walk away. Hopefully there's a guy behind the counter. we don't want to get in any trouble.
I see Paula and I forget what her name is.
Yeah. Where do we stand, Danny?
Trying him right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're trying James Vick or James Krause?
James Vick.
All right.
Would you have been mad if I responded with James?
No. I think I had a feeling it was going to be James Vick.
He just he had his phone. He just missed it. But he's good to go.
Okay. All right. James Vick on Twitter can be followed at James Vick MMA. My man's pissed off here because he wants to fight at UFC Fight Night 126, which is also known as UFC Austin. And he wanted a headline. I think he earned that spot, but they decided to go with Cowboy Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros in the main event, a couple welterweights. This takes place on February 18th on Sunday. So now how do we get him in this co-main event spot? And who versus who? That's what we need to know. Joining us now on the hotline is James Vick. What's up, James? How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm good.
Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with Georgia Goes. We also have our other co-host Dan Tom with us. James, man, I was so gutted for you. I really thought you made sense for the main event slot at UFC Fight Night 126, which is in Austin, Texas on February 18th. We now know they're going with Donald Cerrone and Yancy Medeiros. Are you still pretty peeved at this, or have you gotten over it, and do you have a plan B?
I'm not happy. I mean, I'll be honest. I made that obvious that I wasn't happy. It's annoying, especially when I asked to be on this card, to be the main event of this card almost 2 months ago after my fight. Then I saw, like a month ago, I saw Cerrone saying he was dropping down to lightweight he was on the Fighter and the Kid podcast. I saw him say that, and then so I text Sean Shelby immediately and said, I'll fight him. Then I get a text back. Sean says, I'm not sure where you heard that from, but we're negotiating a deal for him at 170. And I was like, okay, cool. And then Sean calls me last week and says, okay, well, here's an option for opponents we're trying to get. We're going to see. I'm not sure. He basically said none of these guys want any part of you. And he's like, I'm going to do the best I can. And, I mean, it's not his fault. You know, you can't put a gun to these guys' head and make them fight you. But then I said, well, am I going to get the main event, Sean? And he said, well, just, you know, he's like, well, this is what annoys me, is that he goes, well, we already have someone else that's in a main event that's headlined several fights before, but he didn't sit there and happen to mention that it was Donald Cerrone. Because he knew if he did would have told me, because he never told me a name. If he would have told me a name, because I was thinking it was Derek Lewis, and I was like, okay, I understand Derek Lewis is from Texas too, not a problem. But he knew that if I knew it was Donald Cerrone, that I would have begged for that fight. He knew that. And then I see all these people start tagging me in Cerrone's Instagram post talking about, well, the opponent I was looking for at 155 and 170 didn't want to fight, and or couldn't make the date, so I need an opponent. So I said, yeah. So then I that's when I started campaigning. I was like, yeah, and I text Sean that day. This was, I think, the day before Christmas Eve. I think it was either Saturday or the Friday, last Friday. And I said, I'll fight Cerrone at either weight, whatever weight he wants. I don't care. I'll fight him at welterweight. I mean, I'm 190 pounds right now. He's bigger than me. I'll fight him in a heartbeat. And then the next thing I know, a couple of days later, all of a sudden that fight gets announced, which means either two things: either the UFC just don't want Cerrone to take another loss, and they didn't even offer him to fight me, or he just really didn't want to fight me. I have no clue. But I'm annoyed the fact that I asked for that. I agreed to fight at 170. I even said that and everything. And then, of course, when I messaged Sean, he didn't even reply back. And that annoys me because I don't care if it's Donald Cerrone. I don't care who it is. I just wanted to be the main event. And if I have to fight him, if I have to fight him at 170, why would I not do that? Of course I would take that fight.
Damn. I was going to ask you if you would take the fight at 170, but you said they are well aware that you would have fought Cerrone at 55 or 70, so it's not like him changing the division at the end mattered to you.
Yeah, 100%. And I know like I said, Cerrone posted on Instagram. Go back and look a few days ago at his Instagram. He posted, and then I started getting, I don't even follow the dude on Instagram, but I get all these tags, and people start tagging my name in his post, saying, oh, James Vick said he wants to fight you, because I said that a month ago that I wanted to fight him. I posted that when I saw him saying he was dropped down. It's not, and I understand that my goal is to be a world champion, okay? I'm trying to get ranked high as possible, but I can't get a top guy to agree to fight me. So the next best option is to fight someone with a name. Now, I understand, just like what happened with Anthony Pettis, if Cerrone dropped down a weight class, dropped back down to 55, and he won one fight in the UFC, they'd rank him above me. Pettis drops down, beats a 40-year-old Jim Miller, and they put him, he's ranked above me now. 2-4 in his last 6 fights, and now he's ranked. The same thing would happen with Cerrone. If he's lost 3 in a row, if he moved down and won one fight, they would rank him above me. So, of course, his name is bigger than mine. I'm not denying that. But that's why I wanted to fight, because even if he's not ranked, his name would still put me on the map. It's still better than me fighting a no-name, unranked guy right now when I'm not a 2-2 guy asking to fight a top contender. I'm a fucking 8-1 guy asking to fight a top contender. But the UFC can't put a gun to these people's head and make them fight me, so I was going for the next best option, and I just wanted to be the main event in my home state.
James Vick is right. He is 8-1 in the UFC, and that's very, very impressive. And you're right. I think you've already paid your dues. The fact that they're going to Texas, a main event slot would have been nice. Now, James, not to be rude, but since that ship has sailed, is the co-main event the next option? What do you want next?
I mean, I want to be on the card. Here's the thing: Sean basically promised me a week ago that he was going to put me on the card, on the main card. But I told him, I said, Sean, I don't want the main card. When he told me I couldn't be the main event, I was assuming Derek Lewis was the main event, so I wasn't gonna get offended by that. He's a Texas dude too. That's cool. He's paid his dues as well. He deserves a spot as much as me, being in his home state also. So, of course, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth him about that. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll take it. I said, well, can I get the co-main event? He's like, well, and Sean's like, well, of course he's not going to give you a straight answer. He's like, well, maybe, he's like, it just depends on the opponent. Like I said, it's not his fault that these guys won't fight me, but it is his and UFC's fault if I'm not getting top positions on the card. Like, of course, congratulations, I'm on the fucking main card of a fight night. Well, I mean, with the record I have, what am I supposed to thank them for that? You know what I'm saying? I was on the main card. The higher up, I'm trying to get a bonus too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get. You ain't gonna get no damn bonuses on. I highlight reeled the dude in Houston on the main. I was the third fight from the main card because they let me be on the main card. 2 fights on the main event only because I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice against Abel Trujillo. If not, I was on the damn prelims, which is a joke. In my home state, Super Bowl weekend was on a fight night was in the prelims, but that's all cool. So then they let me be on the main card because I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. Didn't highlight reel the dude, didn't get a bonus. I mean, it's fucking nuts, man. I have five or six finishes in the UFC, and I've gotten 1 bonus. And that's it. So, my goal, I want to fight high up on the card because I want publicity, I want a media push, and I want opportunity to get bonuses all at the same time. And I feel like I've earned this. I'm not a fucking 2-2 guy with a 500 record asking for this shit.
James Vick, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, 12-1 overall, 8-1 in the UFC, 3-0 in his last 3 fights, all finishes, and he's right, no bonuses. I see that Bilal Muhammad is chirping at you, but you only wanted to do welterweight if it involved you in the main event, right? Is that why he's out of the equation, or are you contemplating maybe taking that fight?
No, I actually messaged him or replied back to his response, and he was cool about it. He wasn't, I just said I appreciate the offer, but if they would give us the main event, I would fight you in a heartbeat. But why? Here's the problem I have with 170 is this: if I move up to 170 and I win at 170, the UFC's going to make me stay there, and which is not a problem too. But the problem is I'm 8-1 and just now getting ranked number 15 after this long. So what am I going to have to go 8-1 at 170 to get ranked in the top fucking 15 too? So then if I move up and I have success there, they're going to make me stay there, and then if that happens, then I have to rebuild all the way up to where I'm at. I'm about to be 31 years old. If I was 25, I would take all these fucking fights with these people calling out and just get paid. But I want to fucking, I want to be a world champion. But it's not, when I say the clock is ticking, it's not the fact that I feel old. I feel like I'm in the prime of my career. I feel healthy. I started this game late in life, so I haven't had a bunch of mileage like a lot of these other guys anyway. But the older you get, the less likely the UFC is going to promote you. Just like they're not promoting me now, shit. So I'm about to be 31 in February. My goal is to be a world champion. I can't move up a division and start all over again. You know what I'm saying? When I'm having success at the division I'm at. The only reason why I said that my plan wasn't to move up to 170. My plan was to fight Cerrone at that because he said either weight class, and if I fought him at that, I knew I could get the main event. That was my whole plan. Now I lose a few fights or whatever, that's on me. But then I'll consider moving up. But right now, my goal is to be a world champion, and right now my best avenue is at the weight class I'm at, because if I moved up, I'd have to start all over again.
Yeah, I understand about moving up. I politely disagree. I don't think they can make you stay at 170. But I understand what you're saying. You're afraid that it kind of takes you out of the running of what you're doing at 55. And you're right. I think you've paid your dues. You need to get a top name. I'm looking at these names, and I can already hear it. The guys that are in front of you aren't going to want to take a step back. You're definitely a difficult matchup, and you're just tired of fight. You're tired of doing the same thing, taking a step back against people that you've kind of beaten. The top 25, the top 20, the top 15. You want you want a gun for the guys in the top 10.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, if I lose, that's on me. I can't blame anybody but myself. And I'll go back to the fucking drawing board, win three more fights or whatever, and then come back if I lost. But these guys want to use the excuse that I lost to Beneil Dariush is why I don't deserve a chance because I had a top 10. Some of these guys have gotten multiple chances at top 10, top 15 fights, and every single guy in the top 15 has lost more fights in the UFC than I have lost in the UFC. The only guy that hasn't is Khabib because he's never lost. He's the only one. Everyone else has way more losses in the UFC than I have. So how the fuck do you deserve multiple chances, but I don't? You know what I'm saying? They just don't want to fight me. That's exactly what it is. They don't want to take a chance. I'm too big of a risk, and they don't want to fight.
I have a feeling.
How many Joe Duffys do I have to beat? You know what I'm saying? Joe Duffy's a solid contender, but how many of those guys do I have to beat? They want me to keep fighting all the hard motherfuckers coming up so they can avoid them. And they're hoping one of them will knock me off.
I think if we're coming off a win, Iaquinta makes sense, except he's beefing with the UFC, or the winner of Khabib and Barboza, except I don't think it would be Khabib, honestly, but I think it could be Barboza, just because I think Tony and Conor will get made, and I think Alvarez and Poirier are going to run the second one back, and everyone else is working off a loss. Lee's working off a loss, Chiesa's working off a loss, Pettis is working off a loss, Johnson's dropping. Beneil, to run it back with Beneil, I think he would decline that one. Diaz is only waiting for McGregor. It just seems like everyone else is either come. If you don't mind taking someone coming off a loss, then you have Justin Gaethje up there, Kevin Lee, Michael Chiesa. There's some names up there. I don't know, man. Just summarize it for me. What's the best possible scenario at this moment in time for James Vick?
Well, you want me to tell you what Sean told me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is what we talked about last week, okay? Well, first off, the reason why I'm not calling out, I'm not trying to fight Khabib and I'm not trying to fight Barboza, because if I can't get the number 10 ranked guy to fight me, how am I going to get the number 2 or 3 ranked guy to fight me? You know what I'm saying? I can't even get a number 12 ranked guy to fight me. How am I going to get these guys to fight me? I would love to fight one of those guys. I would get a chance to skip the ladder, and if, like I said, you lose, it's on you. But if not, I would take that fight with either one of those guys in a heartbeat. But I understand where they're at. Those guys have worked there to get to where they're at too. But so yeah, them fight. But me, a 15th ranked guy asking to fight a number 10 ranked guy ain't that far off. It should be unrealistic. But what Sean Shelby told me is this. He said, here's our options. Okay. First of all, with Iaquinta, me and him, I really don't want to fight the dude unless it's up there for a top, because, me and him live together, Ultimate Fighter, we're friends. We really don't want to fight each other. Neither one of us want to fight each other unless it's up there for a top 5 spot or so.
Right.
But he said, Sean told me this, he said, here's your options. He said, you got Kevin Lee, who's probably not going to fight you. And Sean said this directly came out of his mouth. He said, these guys want no part of you. He said, you got Kevin Lee, who's probably not going to take the fight. The fight that I think the UFC wants to make, that Sean said, is me and Chiesa in a rematch from the Ultimate Fighter.
I like it.
But Chiesa clearly doesn't want to fight me. I've been trolling this guy on Twitter. He wants no part of it. I've been begging to fight this guy for 5.5 years. He wants no part of it. And Sean basically said this, because this is what happened with Evan Dunham. I told y'all this when we hung out, up at the military base. Basically, that they'll lean on these guys and be like, well, if you're not fighting Vick, then you're going to sit out for a few months. And then Sean said, used to what would happen is guys would have to take the fights when they were making 2-2, but now guys making 50 and 100 grand a fight, they'll be like, okay, well, I'll sit out. So that's what happened with Evan Dunham back in August. I wanted to fight back in August, didn't even get to fight till November because I told Evan Dunham I'd take the fight, and then he wanted no part of it, and I get a text from Sean Shelby saying, Evan Dunham won't fight you, he's willing to sit out. So Sean may resort to that with Chiesa and them if they don't want to take the fight. So we'll see. He said that's possibly going to be his next step. So you got Chiesa, Kevin Lee, who ain't going to fight. You got Iaquinta, who we really don't want to fight each other. If worse comes to worse, something had to happen, we would probably work that out and fight, but we'd rather not. Then you have you got Trinaldo and Paul Felder is what he said. Paul Felder's ranked below me, but Paul Felder does have a name.
He does.
Paul Felder's manager's not going to let him fight me. Let's be realistic. He's not going to let. I know Brian Butler very well. He's a good dude and he's smart. He ain't going to let him fight me. So then he said Trinaldo. He said Trinaldo would probably take the fight tomorrow because he fight anybody. So right now I'm looking at fighting Trinaldo, which isn't a step down for me. At least he's he's ranked, one above me. So, I told Sean, if that's what you got, I'll take it. And we'll see if that's what happens. I mean, obviously I would rather fight 7-ranked Kevin Lee or 8 or 9-ranked Chiesa, but at least that's not a step back for me, you know what I'm saying? At least he is ranked above me.
Yeah. All right, Goes, what do you have for James Vick?
James, so let's say you get the Trinaldo matchup, and something were to happen to the main event, whether it's Donald Cerrone or Yancy Medeiros. Would you be willing to step in and be that main event, or has that ship kind of sailed at that point, depending on when it would happen in your training camp?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if the UFC, the first one with the Trinaldo question, if Sean wants us to fight and he agrees, then I'm going to agree and we're going to fight. If Sean thinks something different, so there's a better option or whatever, there's a guy that, if I get a higher ranked guy than him, of course I'm going to take that option. And then with the main event thing, yeah, if the UFC comes to me the week of the fight and says you want to fight in the main event against Cerrone or Yancy Medeiros at 170, first of all, I get there. When I get to fight week, I'm over 170 pounds anyway. So it's not like I'm still, heavy enough that when I get there that Tuesday or whatever, a week out, I'm still, mid 70s anyway. So that's not a problem, but they're going to compensate me for it. If you ask me on 2 or 3 weeks notice or a week notice to switch opponents on the main event, then you better pay me, motherfuckers. I mean, that's just what it is. I'm not going to fight you for the same. I'm not going to move up, fight up. And I understand, like, if you fight in the main event, you get like extra $25,000 or some bullshit like that just to fight the extra 2 rounds. Fuck that. That's not enough money for me to step in when you screwed me over and didn't give me the main event. And then you're asking me to fight on it on 2 weeks notice. And you're damn right I'll step in and take it. If you want to compensate me and give me more money, we'll talk for sure.
I'm going to ask this question to James.
James Vick is fired up.
It may be a question for everyone.
Okay.
But you have a fighter here who's pretty much willing to fight. I mean, he's dying to fight.
Right.
He gives you a solid performance every time. He's built up a streak. What am I missing here? What is it, James? Like, what, if you could put your finger on it, what are we missing here? Because you sound like, if I was running a business, I want you as an employee. What are we missing?
I have no clue, bro. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Used to, you know what? I used to think the reason why I wasn't getting the marketing push that you know what's funny is I get so much more marketing push from guys like you, from you guys. Now, obviously, we became friends and built a relationship and everything, but you, the BJPen.com, all the other websites, Arrow Hawani, I get more push from y'all than I do any time from the UFC. UFC don't push me very much. They've given me a couple appearances now, and I appreciate the stuff, but I just don't understand it either. Used to, I thought it was because I had been injured so much I was inactive. Like the first 2 or 3 years I was in the UFC, I only fought, like 3 or 4 times in like 3 years of being there. So I have 9 fights now in the UFC, and I've been in the UFC for 5 years. But the last five fights have all been within the last 2 years. So I have been active, Before I thought it was that. Now I really don't have a fucking clue, man. I don't get it. I'm willing to fight everyone, and I mean, I understand that they can't make these guys fight me, but that doesn't mean you still can't give me a chance to be the main event in my home state. That doesn't mean you can't push me, in that aspect, regardless of who my opponent is. It's not my fault that they're not willing to fight me, because I'm willing to fight any of the big name guys.
All right, James. Well, we're gonna see what happens here, and we got a fight coming up here this weekend, and hopefully things shake out for you. But I have a feeling you will be on that card. It's unfortunate you won't be headlining, but 2018 is going to be big for you. I can already tell. You have the accolades, the resume. You've earned it. You paid your dues. So hang in there, buddy. I hope you have a safe and happy New Year, and it was nice catching up with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, James. All right, folks, that's James Vick. Follow him on Twitter at James Vick MMA. He's actually always on social media, so hit him up. We'll be right back. All right, folks. Took James Vick there all the way to the end. We're out of time, though. That's our Thursday show. We just couldn't connect with James Krause, so we'll try and do that tomorrow. Big show tomorrow. It'll be fun. Tune in. And, yeah, that's it. So, for Danny and Dan and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out there, be champions. And shout out again to the Junkies in studio. Randy from Frisco. Buffalo Blue from North Carolina. Martin Stabile from Hawaii. You guys are the best. We're out of here.